I'm finally back home. Anyone out there? Wait. Hold on a second. No.
Wait, please, we can talk about it.
Oh, you're hurting me. What is going on, everybody? It is your boy, your man's Toxic Animal. Please, anyone? Back at it with another video. And today we are going to be doing yet another toxic ranking. And we are going to be ranking all 10 of the Planet of the Apes movies, including Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. But before we get to the actual beginning of the video, what's up, guys? Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, because number one, it's absolutely free, number two, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, just 298 away now. Really help out your boy if you did subscribe. And also maybe help with the YouTube algorithm, recommend the video to more people. Maybe they can join. That sucks. Okay. And also do feel free to comment your guys' rankings down below. And with that being said, guys, let's just go into the actual ranking itself. Without a shadow of a doubt, coming in last place is going to be Beneath the Planet of the Apes. And this is the only movie on this list I would consider a bad movie. And even when I was a kid, when I was younger, which I rarely disliked any movies, I even thought I didn't like this one. Basically just a repeat of the first film, but they have this new protagonist that looks exactly like Charlton Heston, and that was interesting that they added that. It's just a repeat, then it turns into this weird final act where they were worshipping like rockets or something like that. It's been a while since I've seen the movie, but I do remember it mostly vaguely, where they're worshipping some sort of rocket and stuff, and then Charlton Heston and the dude end up fighting near the end, which is just odd. They don't really explain that much, really. And that's why Beneath the Planet of the Apes comes in, too, because it's very forgettable, and it was a bad movie, in my personal opinion. Ninth place is going to be Planet of the Apes from 2001, directed by... I think he did direct it. It was either produced or directed by Tim Burton. I'm pretty sure it was directed by Tim Burton. And this one, I think, is okay. It's definitely more rewatchable than Beneath the Planet of the Apes is. Planet of the Apes from 2001, I think that the makeup effects with all the monkey costumes and stuff was amazing. Probably the best, like, costuming and stuff out of the Planet of the Apes movies that had costuming for their apes. I think this one definitely had the best version of that. There's some pretty decent performances here and there. I think Tim Roth, who's aka Abomination, who also plays our big main ape bad guy in here. I thought he did pretty decent as the bad guy, but not amazing though. You have Michael Clark Duncan in here as like one of his loyal subjects, if you will, and he does okay. Mark Wahlberg doesn't do great, but he does okay. He does okay. For a reboot, here's the biggest flaw. It doesn't really do anything. It just does the original movie over again without changing a whole lot of new stuff. And they add a whole bunch of goofy parts throughout the actual Planet of the Apes in here, which doesn't really work in that, and they need to keep that serious tone, which they do not do a good job of. Also, it's okay. I don't hate my time rewatching it, but it's not amazing either. So it comes in here at number 9. Coming in at number 8, I have Battle for the Planet of the Apes, which this movie I didn't realize existed until I got the complete Blu-ray collection of all of the old Planet of the Apes movies, and this one I think is the most forgettable out of all of them. Behind this or Battle Beneath the Planet of the Apes is probably the most forgettable. This one is very similar to War and Dawn, I think. It has sort of both of those aspects in there, where they have a sort of Koba figure that's like a big gorilla that basically feels the same way Koba does about humans, where he basically doesn't like them because he's seen how bad some humans could be. And they also have elements from War in here with some of Caesar's one of Caesar's youngest one of Caesar's sons ends up dying in this, spoiler alert, but I'm pretty sure you guys don't care about it. I don't even know if you guys know if this exists or not, because I barely hear anybody talk about this. It's okay. That's pretty much all I can remember. It's just not that memorable. So that comes in at number 8. Coming in at number 7, and I think all the movies from here on out are good to great. And 7 is going to be Conquest for the Planet of the Apes, which Rise of the Planet of the Apes took a lot of liberties from this and went more, instead of being in a post-apocalyptic future, not post-apocalyptic future, but yeah, I mean, I guess you could consider it a post-apocalyptic future. Before, instead of not going that route, they went basically current day, basically, with that. But this one is more like post-apocalyptic, where all the cats and dogs die, and basically the chimpanzees and the apes are the only, basically, pets for humans nowadays, where Caesar, in this played by Roddy McDowall, of course, taking that place, taking yet another monkey role after him playing the main dude from, the main ape from the first Planet of the Apes, then Beneath, and also Escape, being in here, which I think he does a better job as Caesar instead of his father. Oh, Cornelius, that's what his name is. It's just, it feels dated compared to the newer movies, so it comes here at number 7. Coming in at number 6, I have Escape from the Planet of the Apes, which I got this one confused with Beneath the Planet of the Apes for the titles, but thank goodness I double checked. And this one I think is it takes a drastic turn, but I think this one is definitely the most lighthearted out of all the Planet of the Apes movies. It's mostly like a family movie at the start until the final act, where it takes a deep, dark turn with the humans finding out about their future, where the apes rule over the humans. They end up turning on Cornelius and his wife and basically trying to kill them, and they're trying to save Caesar and make sure he doesn't die. So they end up dying near the end, which was really sad. I remember watching that when I was littler, and yeah, it's weird that they took such a huge tonal shift later on, but it is my second favorite out of the original Planet of the Apes movie, so it comes here at number 6. Had to look there just in case to remember. And coming in at number 4, I have
Lucas
the
from the
original
future.
Planet of the
I've
Apes
changed
from
my mind. This is 5th
starring
place.
Charlton Heston. And this is a movie that, while it definitely has aged a little bit, it still holds up a lot, especially the twist near the end. That was definitely one of the most shocking plot twists in movie history of all time. I really enjoyed that twist. Also, there's a bunch of sequences throughout this movie where it's like a horror movie, where there's one of the spacemen end up basically gets stuffed by the apes, and they're in a museum, which that was pretty freaky. And Charlton Heston, even though it's definitely not on par with today's acting. He had a great performance for back then. Trying to think. Anything else on the top of my head? No, I still think it's a great movie. It's just it doesn't hold up as much as the newer movies. But now we move to the top 3, people. And I would say all the rest of these are great. Coming in at number 5, I
Lucas
have
from the
Rise
future
of the
again.
Planet
Like
of the
I said
Apes,
before,
which
I've changed
a
my
whole
mind.
lot of
It is
people,
fourth
including myself,
place.
were very skeptical when this was coming out originally after the Tim Burton one from 2001 and also the original one, how classic that was. And man, oh man, were we proven wrong, because this movie was great. It focused on Caesar yet again, but in a different way, where it's in modern time. They gave him such a great start to one of the best character arcs in all of movie history, in my personal opinion. Caesar is one of the best movie characters of all time for me, and they do a great job at starting that out. Also, James Franco does great in here, even though he'll probably never be in a Hollywood movie again. He does great. Trying to remember. What other roles are in here? John Lithgow does good as the dad, and I like the drama they added with James Franco and his father. I thought that was quite heartbreaking, but definitely helped increase all the human characters' arcs in this. And then has a lot of memorable ape characters in here with Rocket. Then you also have, I believe his name is, I forgot what the big ape's name was, but he was great. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I forgot what his name was. Then there's also Maurice. That's another great character. And yeah, if I were to nitpick properly, I would say that they don't really give a clear explanation, really, that the apes would turn on the humans, more specifically Caesar. All the other ones definitely have justifiable motives, but they don't really give him a motive to turn on all of humanity, For me, personally, I didn't hear anything. Let me know down in the comments why he... Anyways, but that is at number 5. Now, moving on to number 4. And honestly, these 3 I would say I all love. But coming in at number 3, I'm going to put War for the Planet of the Apes. And why I put War here at number 3 is specifically because I don't think this has as much rewatch value as all the other Planet of the Apes movies above it do. It's very... Because this one, even though the other 2 are sad enough, this one is even more sad with the moments throughout the movie. Don't get me wrong, the sad moments are amazing, but I don't know, they make it not as rewatchable as the other ones. But however, when I do eventually rewatch this movie in particular, this probably has the best CGI for the apes out of the newer movies compared to all the other ones. I really thought they did a great job with that, and it looked so realistic. It was freaky. Had a new character with Bad Ape, which he was quite funny in here, voiced by Steve Zahn, and he added some humor to a very dark movie. Woody Harrelson in here as the villain, which I think he's probably the second best villain out of the Planet of the Apes movies. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. Definitely the best human villain for sure. And just has a very mean performance, and has a very compelling story with Caesar trying to make one last hurrah, and make sure his apes escape safely. Just like this is basically an escape plan with the escape plan movie with Caesar and the Planet of the Apes instead, and this movie is amazing, so I loved it. And coming in at number 2, I have The New Dog, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And this is so far my favorite movie of the year. Sorry, Dune Part 2. I loved this movie. I thought that the new protagonist of Noah, I was nervous at first when they we're introducing a new protagonist instead of Caesar. And Noah, not being on the level of Caesar, is still a really good protagonist that you definitely root for, among with his relationship with all of his friends and his mom. CGI in here is still amazing. Also, there's a new villain in Proximus Caesar who is voiced by Kevin Durant in here. I think he does a phenomenal job for the limited time he's on screen. The cinematography in here is amazing. It sets up a few other movies later on and does a great job at that, and I'm definitely excited for all the rest of those. Also some other side characters too were quite memorable. I thought, Rafa, I believe that's what his name is. He is the orangutan in the trailer where he goes, basically, oh, you haven't seen everything. That ape, he has a pretty good arc in there, and he's definitely a very memorable side character. And yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this movie. So this comes here at number 2, but it's not as great as my number 1.
You are not ape.
And coming in number 1 for me is going to be Dawn for the Planet of the Apes. And not only is this my favorite Planet of the Apes movie, this is among my top, probably, maybe top 20, top 15 favorite movies of all time. I love Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Just that whole dynamic with Caesar and Koba, where Koba is totally against humans and Caesar is willing to give them more of a chance, definitely is a very compelling dynamic between those two. And then Koba eventually becoming the big villain later on. He is one of my probably top 10 favorite movie villains of all time, because you really do sympathize with him and understand where he's coming from, and he's masterfully I forgot what the term was, masterfully motion captured by Toby Kebbell in here, and also, of course, Andy Serkis. I forgot to mention this with War and Rise too. He is masterfully motion captures Caesar as well. Adds a bunch of other other memorable apes in here too, and also the human characters are the best human characters out of all the Planet of the Apes movies, with Gary Oldman in here, who's an eventual antagonist to Caesar, and you definitely understand where he's coming from as well, the loss he struggled, and also the human protagonists, I thought he is a human. The other human protagonists that you are the good guys, you definitely root for them as well. And I have not a single negative thing to say about Dawn for the Planet of the Apes. I think Dawn for the Planet of the Apes is phenomenal. But with that being said, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this toxic movie ranking of all the Planet of the Apes movies. Be sure to check out tomorrow, because I will be doing a tier list ranking of this, so be on the lookout for that. And also do feel free to comment your rankings down below. And with that being said, guys, I'll see y'all next one, everybody. Peace.